Man United 1, Crystal Palace 0. I'm joined by Stephen Howson. The first win of the Ralf Rangnick era is upon us. Give me your thoughts on that game.
Half time, just on live score, just seeing how some of the other games are going. Just scrolling through. Look who's on the bench. Just coach Ralf Rangnick. Just threw me a minute, just like, oh shit. Oh yeah, that happened. I'm miles away where I am in Stretford and I can't see. Was it Darren Fletcher that ran down in the first half?
Darren Fletcher was on the touchline. I don't know whether he was running down, but yeah.
We saw the switch. It started in what looked like a 4-3-3, then it went to what more looked like a 2-2. Although it was still pretty flexible. I thought there were some really positive signs. It looked like they kind of knew what they were trying to achieve, but weren't quite fully achieving it. We'd read the thing, we hadn't practiced the thing, which might literally be what's happened. Considering, he mentioned that they struggled to actually get a full training session in because of the weather yesterday. We know about that, don't we, Cameron? It was horrendous. But why aren't they played inside? We literally have indoor pitch at Carrington. They've just stood there with umbrellas going, this is proper shit, isn't it? Yeah, no mind, keep going. So they said they only got 45 minutes on the grass, so you're not going to expect complete implementation of everything, but I did think there was a one step in the right kind of direction. Obviously, the formation had changed slightly, the utilisation of players had changed slightly, but I think the biggest thing to notice was we seem to be limiting the amount of touches through the centre. Previously, you'd see McTominay dwell on it, you'd see Fred dwell on it, and that's when those players in particular look awful. Whereas those players today were trying to move the ball up the pitch a little bit quicker than we've been used to seeing. And I think that was a thing that we had to do against Palace, because Palace sat so deep. It really could have been one of those days. I've just been watching. I've not actually managed to see Ralph's press conference. Obviously, I've seen all the quotes and stuff come out from it, but I haven't watched it myself. But there's something I picked up on where he said, like, conceding the goals we conceded, very exciting for the fans. I need to change that. And he's changed that. He's got a clean sheet. And someone just told me, I don't know if this is correct, but someone told me on my live, that's our first clean sheet since April at home.
Yeah, supposedly the first one since April, yeah. 15 games.
Brilliant. Should we just start there, eh? Fantastic. Was it Sir Alex, did you say, I was happier with a 1-0 win than a 5-0 win? There's reasons for that, in that you've probably had to graft for that performance, and Crystal Palace made us graft. They've took points off some serious teams, including Manchester City. We can't really discount that, it's Crystal Palace, they're garbage. There were some really good individual performances and surprising performances. I'd written Dolo off. I think Delo could be someone that comes in and has a real positive game. He had a theoretically nightmare of a game by facing off against Zaha, but he dealt with him pretty well. I think he got past him once.
Yeah, but he didn't get overwhelmed. Fred in the middle. Can we talk about Fred for a minute?
I think Fred's going to end up being the headline from this. I think anyone who's watched what Ralf Rangnick's teams do in the past identified Fred as a possible person that could benefit from this. But he'd already started to benefit from it by Michael Carrick made an adjustment to his positioning. He started playing less as a 6 and more as a number 8. And I think more as a number 8, the game can be ahead of you a little bit. Certainly when you're trying to regain possession, the game can be this way. You have some strikers that can receive the ball with their back to goal, and some that need the ball to go in front of them. I think Fred's a bit similar to that. If you put him as a number 6, trying to ask him to receive the ball from the centre halves, he just drops clanger after clanger. And we saw a couple of times today where he was asked to switch the ball because there wasn't the easy pass on, and we lost it. So it wasn't a perfect performance by Fred by any stretch of the imagination. But if you get him to simplify his game, and like, when they've got it, go get it. And when we've got it, get out of the fucking way. That, I think, would really help. I mean, a nice little bounce pass, keeping it very simple, limiting his touches through the centre, and I think he can look good. He can look like a real useful member of that squad. I still think there's a time when both McTominay and Fred get replaced by better footballers, but I think he's just said in his press conference they were nearly perfect when the other team had the ball, and I think that's very much what those two players are in the squad for. I think when they're on the ball, every United fan can see that they're not the answer, and that's why so many people are screaming for Donny van der Beek to play. But what Donny does on the ball, he doesn't do off the ball, and that's the reason Solskjaer's picked him, that's the reason Carrick picked him, and that's the reason Ralf Rangnick's picked him. And let's be honest, it was probably the reason Jose was picking him as well. They're not getting games for no reason. Everyone who watches them goes, we can do better than that, can't we? On the ball, but what they offer off the ball, especially that work rate, is something that is tough to replace with the current personnel that we've got.
And you mentioned the clean sheet before. Ayew had that one chance, didn't he, where he sort of squared it across. But other than that, Crystal Palace didn't create much. Rangnick kept talking about control. Did you see more control today? Because I thought watching that was the sort of least concerned I've been watching United in ages, especially at home, which is obviously mad to say. But yeah, the least concerned I've been in a long time.
Yeah, that seems to be the buzzword he's got, doesn't it? I mean, we've seen loads of people coming in with different things. That seems to be Ralf Rangnick's buzzword, is wanting the control of the game. And why shouldn't you want control of the game? You want to limit what the opposition are doing. You want to maximise what you want to do on the ball, and you want to move it into areas where you can hurt them. And I think that's ultimately what everyone's trying to achieve in game, and that is control. I thought there was some people that didn't have great performances. I think Marcus was one of them. I think he looks like he's not recovered from his injury. It looks like he's not got full match fitness. But Elanga looked really bright when he came on. Obviously been told to run around like a lunatic and did that. Mason didn't really do a great deal when he came on. Maybe had one opportunity. Well, he had the worst shot of the game, actually. It was miles wide.
Yeah, like 10 yards wide.
It was so badly wide where you go... I don't know. Yeah, obviously Ronaldo was a bit of a threat. He does what Ronaldo does. I've seen a bit of criticism for Bruno. I'm not sure about that, to be honest. I thought he was moving the ball forward really well. He took up some good positions, and the final ball wasn't there, but obviously it was 1-0. The final ball was there more for him. It would have been 4-0.
You mentioned Dalot. Tellez is another one. A lot of talk about will Shaw and Wan-Bissaka get their spots back. What's your take on the sort of fullback situation?
I think it's probably realistically too early to say. I think Dalot's probably ahead in terms of who likely to maintain their position. I thought Tellez had a decent performance. There might be something in the fact that Ralf Rangnick's already kind of had a go publicly at Luke Shaw that might challenge him privately. They might have a conversation privately because of his stance that he's already had publicly. It might give him an opportunity that maybe he wouldn't have done to sort of prove him right or prove him wrong. So I don't think it's settled in any stretch of the imagination. But competition for places is always a positive thing. I wish we had more competition for places at centre half.
3 points off top 4. Obviously, I think that's the main aim in the league. But how optimistic are you from that performance going forward now? Has anything changed? Did anything surprise you? And do you think we can be a serious threat in the FA Cup when it comes around in the Champions League as well?
Yeah, I think we can be. Yeah, I think this team scores goals. So a team that scores goals can always go the distance in a cup competition. So I wouldn't ever rule us out of a cup competition. The league's your bread and butter, and you've got to be consistent, and United haven't been consistent. He's got an opportunity to start with some seriously winnable games. Like 6 or 7, really, straight off the bat, you could rack up some points. If he goes on that sort of run, I mean, we're not going to go on the run City went on last year. Was it 22, 23 games?
Something ridiculous, wasn't it?
That literally won him the league. There was nowhere, and I remember standing here talking to people like, he's seen City, like, watch for City. Well, I think City are still favourites. And then they went on a run that I don't think anyone anticipated. And that was what pushed them over the line. It doesn't need to be 21 games. That'd be nice. It's not going to happen. But 7 games would completely change the mood of the place. 7 games would probably get a lot more buy-in from the rest of the players into whatever Rangnick's selling in training. So I think the best that we can hope for is win these 7 games, because is it February, March? I think it gets minging for us.
Yeah, March it goes City, Tottenham, Liverpool, and then I think there's one other game that's like Arsenal, something ridiculous.
Yeah, so we got to get some momentum behind us, because we could really hit a banana skin now.
Right, before we go then, man of the match?
I think it was Fred.
It was Fred. Right, let us know your thoughts at home. Cheers for joining us, Steve. A great start to life under Ralf Rangnick at Manchester United. A clean sheet for the first time in a long time, and the most ball wins in the opposition third since Fergie retired. We'll see you in a bit.